Hey, Doc.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
All I know is I ain't letting anyone rip my throat out in my sleep. I found myself a nice blade, Doc. I'm ready.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox. Hello again, Mr. Blight. I'm happy to see Mr. Thatcher is safe, for now.
I'm eternally grateful, Doctor. We were total strangers and you helped us anyway. Can't thank you enough, sir.
What caused your phobia of rats, Newton?
It happened last year following an artillery attack. I was trapped for 2 days in a hole under 2 dead soldiers. And there were rats.
Go on.
It started eating me as soon as I dozed. Gnawing at my ears, my fingers, lips. I couldn't move. Couldn't call for help.
I see.
No, you don't. You have no idea what it is to wake up buried under bodies. Fucking vermin eating your flesh. Oswald. He found me and saved me.
Why do you stay here now that Mr. Thatcher's back?
It's complicated. Since the war, Oswald's been really nervous with the idea of entering any hospital. And me, I've got my own issues.
Can you speak about them?
Rats, sir. Even seeing one, they turn me. Just want to run. It's that fear that stopped me from going after Oswald when he left.
You are always welcome at the Pembroke Hospital. As a former officer, I'll be honored to welcome a fellow veteran.
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back to the hospital. I just need to convince him that he needs some help.
Perhaps he needs to reach that decision by himself.
Could you speak to him? He doesn't usually listen to doctors, but perhaps because you've been through it, you can talk him round.
What can you tell me about the war, Mr. Blight? If you want to speak about it, of course.
War was... Well, you know, sir. The stench of death everywhere. Your mates lying bleeding in the mud. Just praying to make it through and get home. Bloody nightmare.
I fought in France, too. I served as a field surgeon, but it was not uncommon to repel an assault, especially at night.
Yeah. The first time I was wounded, I had to protect the infirmary from hostiles. Twice.
Did you know Oswald Thatcher before the war?
No. We met in the battlefield. I think we're in the same boat to France. We've stuck together ever since.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
This city is more peaceful without the bombs, but no less dangerous.
Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you feel any better now?
Yes, this neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain air.
Mr. Thatcher, do you have a job?
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too.
No. Nobody can truly understand what I've gone through.
Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself in, despite my claustrophobia.
Why did you run? What was the reason for your argument?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it my own way.
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pembroke Hospital to seek medical help?
I don't trust doctors. All they care about was their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself. You need professional help.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
Do you want to talk about why you have this fear of being enclosed, Mr. Thatcher?
No, I really don't.
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific event. Perhaps it would help to talk about it.
Well, Doctor, take a guess then if you're so interested in my case.
Perhaps you were trapped or locked in somewhere as a child. The horror of war could have brought this memory back to the surface.
Are you joking? I grew up on a farm, had a bloody fantastic childhood.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
Safer here than any... Where else in the East End?
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues. A giant morgue disguised as a hospital. It's Pembroke nowadays.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, Nurse?
I will be fine as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
My condition cannot be understood by you, mortal. This curse is beyond your science.
Well, until the day science finally admits failure, please accept this little contribution.
Thank you, Doctor. Your efforts are admirable, though laughable.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
As for me...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
I would have been confused if anyone other than you had asked that question, Dr. Reed. But your help is welcomed.
There is no shame in helping each other. We're colleagues, after all.
Many doctors I have known are too cynical to think that way.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
How long...
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Falling apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Doctor. You always knew the words to calm the children.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
I will see you later. I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No, I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well-deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. It's locked. It's locked, all right.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Miss Jones's body has gone missing?
Yes. The body was brought here this morning, and now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Yes, indeed. But don't worry, I am perfectly capable of taking care of myself.
I have no doubt about it, but you are still ill all the same. Please, take this medicine.
I appreciate your concern, Dr. Reed. To be honest, I just did not take the time to diagnose myself.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks, anyway.
Goodbye, Milton.
Hey, Doc.
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
Sometimes you act like a real jerk, you know that?
Come on, Ozzy, don't be like that.
What? Like what? Like someone who felt betrayed by the man he loves? Did you ever even try to find me? Rescue me?
You know, it's not like that. I wanted to. I was so afraid to leave the hospital, not to be seen with you.
We survived this shit together. That's all that matters. I know you did your best. Fuck the war, right? And fuck them all.
Fuck the war. Fuck them all.
Is this supposed to be an
Good evening.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't imagine life without him.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said. But Newton sees it differently.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day. I speak plain. I speak my mind.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again. I love him, that's all.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with.
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
Miss, please, I feel sick. You know?
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
How do you feel about Oswald Thatcher? You are more than friends, aren't you?
I love him. I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well, you know, I never thought I'd love a man.
Enjoy your love. And enjoy life as long as you can, Mr. Blight. Don't let anyone tell you who you should love or how you should love them.
I appreciate your kind words, sir. But it ain't that easy. It's all so new to me.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, I've got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead. yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
I'm all right.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
I have wasted too much energy for so little result.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
I have wasted too much energy for so little result.
It's locked, all right.
pig's starting to smell better.
This one's mine! It's elite! Kill it! Look at it! The fish! Bugger! Stupid beast! Look at it! Vicious bugger in it!
It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Over there! There's one of them burning!
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Could this be the scarf you lost, Miss Popper?
It is much more than a scarf to me. It is the only thing that connects me to my family and my country. Thank you so much.
What do you know about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
2 girls I know went to the dispensary yesterday. Nobody has seen them since. I worry about them, in case bad things happen.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can. Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Have you any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
It appears the dispensary is now a major source of contagion in Whitechapel. Someone should do something about it, but no one cares.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Good evening, Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Not at all, sir.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Watch yourselves! There's one of them! It ain't human! Kill it! Die!
The walls of your...
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
If you propagate the devil's work, you'll perish by the devil's work. Such is the law of the Lord.
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
Faith gives me all I need, my son. If I must fall, then so be it.
No doubt your faith will prevail, but let me give you some extra protection against the devil's work. Medicine.
Blessed be your generosity, my son.
I have had enough for tonight. Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth?
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
I have heard enough. Goodbye.
You again? What do you want this time?
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I saw her wandering the streets. Yesterday, I think. She didn't recognize me. People say she's lost it. It's a sad story.
Can I offer you my medical expertise, Mr. Peters?
Keep your medicines for others.
There is a thin line between pride and stupidity, sir. Please take this medication. You'll feel better.
All right. I'll take it then. It's not like I don't appreciate the gesture.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson. Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Have you any recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Nobody dares to enter the dispensary now. Rumors say the nurse has gone mad.
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
You'll feel better with this, but you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
It's locked.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Right then. Show me what you have.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Do you have any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
It appears those who dare to get health care from that bitch are never seen again. Something fishy going on there, for sure.
Do you need help, sir?
To be honest, I'd prefer you take a look at my stuff. I'd rather be rich and sick than the contrary.
I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Really? Free? Don't take it personally, but charity usually comes at a price. Human nature being what it is.
Do you need help, sir?
I only need you to purchase something from my shop, sir.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
This district has always been wretched. I'll let you go now.
I'm cheap
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Have you any news on Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
It seems her dispensary isn't so busy nowadays. A good thing for the Swanborough cordial.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
You look ill, Miss Swanborough. I wonder if your concoction will do the trick.
I have no doubt it will. But I'm not against a second opinion, Dr. Reed.
Well, there you have it. Take this remedy, but be discreet. It may damage your business otherwise.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Miss Swanborough. Perhaps we'll talk again. Good evening, Mr. Petrescu.
Surely you have someone else to bother, Mr. Doctor.
How do you feel, Mr. Petrescu? Do you need my help?
I would not even accept fresh water from you, Doctor. I don't need your help.
Yes, you do. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
I said I don't want anything. But I'll keep this for those who really need it.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
This city.
I have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind. Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right? It's not my fault, Barrett. You are blinded by your...
Hello again, miss. You don't seem to need my medical attention for now. Very well. Goodbye, then.
Come on, we can sort it out, right? It's not my call, Barrett. You pay one way or another. Please.
When science fails you, this elixir will
Good
give
evening,
you faith
Benjamin.
again.
Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
Have you any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Not recently.
You don't seem well, Benjamin. Do you need any help?
I always feel ill, sir. It's like I'm never right.
I can try to help your body heal, sir. But you must stop destroying it.
The war destroyed me, Doctor.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
This elixir will give you faith again.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Never heard of her.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired these days.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Goodbye, young man.
effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial. When science fails you,
It's locked. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
It's safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
Giant morgue disguised as a hospital. That's Pembroke nowadays.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Another night with the glorious battalion.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Look lively! It's on to us!
Die, vermin! He's mine! I'll take it!
God walks with me! Burn it, boys! Back to the bloody grave! Get them weapons ready!
The moron had me laughing. It's a thing. Bloody va-
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here, like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want, then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my Wet Boot Boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think.
This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
You still use your husband's name, Edwina. Why is that?
Why shouldn't I? He may be a bloody bastard, but I'm still his wife and his name means something round here.
You never paid him a visit at the Pembroke Hospital, did you?
And I don't intend to. In Clay's case, I'm not against a medical mistake or a little help from the Spanish flu.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Mark my words. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth, claws, murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
Good evening, sir.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize me? We met a few nights ago.
Don't take it personally. I spent a lot of energy forgetting what I did the night before.
Yes, you had definitely drunk too much then as well. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Dyson Delaney. I'll try to remember you. This time.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am Doc.
Don't you work at all?
I'd love to, but I don't have the time. Didn't I tell you? Drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, A tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. A bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn streetlight.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it. Now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is, I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly, so joyful.
Why are you so cynical?
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
Another time, perhaps. I'm not sure I want to hear another sad story. I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted, and I don't know if he's back.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint. I'll try asking Tom what's about him.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney. Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Ah, you're a doctor.
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes. I feel sicker than usual these days.
Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney. Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind in fancy togs.
I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
If you're uncertain about your safety here, the docks might not be the right place for you.
I got responsibilities. And it's not like I got the money to move anywhere else anyway.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colorful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
So this bar is neutral territory then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
Excuse my curiosity, but where exactly are you from, Miss Cavendish?
Something bothering you? What, my name? Or my complexion?
Believe me, I never judge someone on their place of birth or the color of their skin.
If that's true, you'd be one of the few not to make fun of me. Just you, Tom, Dyson, Miss Fishburne, and of course Mr. Hampton.
I'm sorry if I worried you. I was just curious to find out if you know this part of town well.
Nosy. My dad was a sailor from Bombay. And my mum was a maid born up in Glasgow. They got married in London. And here I am.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist. And they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Poor boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour, but I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
I hope I live long enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Or something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. And with the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
Why does your waitress feel in danger working on the docks?
This part of town is dangerous for all, but for women it's worse, as always. Sabrina is a brave girl, but she can't help feeling in danger.
Do you think she has good reason to feel this way? Are you not worried about her safety?
Of course I am. The truth is, she's tougher than me deep inside. She just has to learn to control it.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
So few clients. What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Poor Jack. I think I'm losing my mind.
Perhaps I should shut the
I should
turquoise
just
for a
run as
time.
far away from this.
places I can.
Pleasure, sir. It's been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
The sewer dog's fault, they say. Then the gangs, the epidemics, everyone's throwing the blame.
I have this thirst for blood.
The wet boots keeping things straight, these parts will be running completely amok.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
Nope. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. It's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just wanted to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne. Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
You should be careful, Rufus. There are things that lurk in the shadows of this city. Things that prey on the lonely and the desperate.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
I'll see you later. So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
All these whispers of monsters got folk gossiping and scared. It's people they should fear. Flesh and blood.
It's locked, all right.
Vampyr did. I can't say, but whatever did this carefully avoided the archers. We found ourselves a bloody arse.
I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked. I cannot enter. It's locked, all right.
Step away, sir.
Seems like the guard of Prewell is on Sean Hampton's trail, too.
All of you bloody leeches need killing!
Don't like that, do ya? Crush the leech, boys! Oh, that's gonna smart! Die, Fanny!
Are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast.
Best stay back, sir. Back in the grave!
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
What have we here? Lost your horse, Governor? Or are you just out of your mind?
It's locked. It's locked.
So much noise. Where kills and other saints.
Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton.
What have we here? Lost your horse, Governor?
It's hard enough to come to the docks by myself.
You're not slurping soup before bed.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir. My name is Giselle Paxton, but I don't have time for men like you.
Have we met before?
No, but I just need to look at your fancy clothes to know that you must be desperate to visit the docks at night.
That's quite judgmental of you.
Sir, I've led enough strikes when I had a job to identify you as an enemy of the working class.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
As I told you, I'm a doctor. You have to work a lot to earn that title.
Oh, a doctor. Born with money in a nice house, were we? Was Daddy a banker or a doctor himself?
Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job?
Course I am. Fuck, you're so blind. You don't even see your privilege. Lazy people like you disgust me.
What can you tell me about this vicinity?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this.
Oh. You want information instead? Well, here's some for you. Giselle Paxton does not like you at all, Doctor.
You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy.
Your manners, your clothes, your words tell me everything about you, sir. I know your kind, and you don't belong here.
Oh no, Miss Paxton, you really don't know my kind. You have no idea who I am.
All right, okay. No need to get all worked up.
You speak of strikes and class enemy. Am I right to assume you're involved in trade union activism?
You bet I am. Well, I was. Nowadays, I'm just another worker blacklisted by the big companies.
You lost your job because of your beliefs.
Those bastards really hate a worker who refuses slave wages and unsafe conditions, especially when it's a woman.
Isn't the whole point of trade unions to help workers in need? Why don't they support you?
A few nights back, I lost the money my companions had asked me to hide. With me and my sister being penniless, they thought I stole it.
What really happened?
I drank too much that night. Strange men saw me count the money in that bar. Some sort of militia in uniform. I'm sure they robbed me.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
What is it you want? Does he owe you money? Has he displeased your Royal Highness? I'm no snitch, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The sad saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the sad saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the sad saint of the East End. He gave me shelter, and he's not always sad.
What can you tell me about this place? How are things here?
It may be okay for a strong girl like me, but a dandy doctor from the city like yourself, you better watch your back, Mr. Reed.
You really think I should go back to a safer place, miss?
No. I think you had better stay and help as many people as you can. Just avoid the wet boot boys. Those bastards are worse than the epidemic.
Which local dangers must I avoid?
Well, the gangs, the thieves, the drunks, the jobless. A man with your fancy clothes will attract a lot of attention.
Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated.
Glad to hear that. And if you get into trouble, you can always seek help at Hampton's shelter. No one would dare to be violent there.
I'm looking for Hampton. Can you help me?
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why do you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
This Seymour worries me. Perhaps Sean knows something about him.
It's locked. This must be a picture of the bomb explosion Dyson Delaney spoke of. It's locked.
Why the long face, Doctor?
Is it all that worries you, Sean? My long face? Really?
This is a blessing for me, to become a Skal. Immortality gives me more time and energy, if truth be known, to run a shelter. What more could I want?
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
Do you think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Skal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain.
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith. My will is far stronger than his.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke?
Though Harriet was an angry, spiteful woman, she was one of God's creatures. I have nothing but love for all he has made.
But you were close to her.
Of course. But she was lost, separated from the fold. She did not see the hand of the divine in my blessed condition.
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
I have to see for myself. But your sense of purpose and calm gives me some relief.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I'll surrender myself to your judgment. We'll have a talk when you've returned from the sewers, Dr. Reed. It's in the pits, where the city is darkest, the place you'll find your light.
It's locked, all right.
Come now, Lottie. There is still much work to do.
I have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is despicable. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf, right?
Who the hell are you to question me? It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the Wet Boot Boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack! Rumour has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. I heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes?
It's locked, all right.
So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh no, I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. I would never say that to him, of course.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippett.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
I'll find you something.
I'm the one what should be grateful. My dear boy.
Sir, no civilians allowed.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood. Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Hypocrites, all of them. Maggots and liars.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Do you require medical assistance?
That's something I didn't expect to hear again. A doctor concerned with the health of his patients. Yeah. I could use some help. On several matters, in fact.
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry.
It's locked.
I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days. So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
I'm not sure if he ever done anything.
All these whispers of monsters got folk gossiping and scared. It's people they should fear.
It's not human! Kill it!
A vampire killer is interesting.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course. So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippets. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
I'll try my best. Here, take this. And please, try to get some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
It's elite! Kill it! There's one of them vermin!
It's locked.
Step away, sir. Stop now! Stupid beast!